This week's podcast is about sexual misconduct in the workplace. Now, it's a lot more common for us to hear about sexual misconduct and sexual harassment cases taking place in the business world than it is to hear about sexual misconduct cases taking place in the political world. But just because we don't hear about something, that does not mean that it doesn't happen. In this week's episode, I specifically speak about sexual misconduct cases that are taking place in FBI, which is one of the US government's biggest institutions, and how the leadership in FBI has been historically trying to hide these cases, and it had to take an investigative journalism to really bring these cases to light. Generally speaking, majority of these sexual harassment offenders are men. I once worked in a human resources department of a very big international airline, and just about every single case that came to me which had to do with sexual harassment, the offender was always a man. Earlier this year, for example, multiple allegations were raised about Governor Cuomo, who is the current sitting governor of New York City. And until today, for example, he is still working in his job and nothing has happened. So when there's no accountability and nothing happens to the offender, that usually is one of the biggest reasons why people just decide, you know what's the point of reporting something if nothing is going to be done about it? So it's very important for people who are in human resources and in leadership positions to really step out and really show themselves as allies for victims of sexual harassment. And yet another example. Last year in 2020, Jeffrey Toobin was suspended from the New Yorker magazine for masturbating during a Zoom meeting, and he was reinstated in his job on CNN as a legal analyst just over a week ago. So with all this news flying around and everything that we see happening around us, you would think that movements such as Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement would have kind of given men some sign that, look, you should probably be thinking twice the next time you make any attempt to misbehave. But clearly the coin hasn't dropped. If you're a business leader or an HR practitioner watching this video clip, here are just some of the things that you should consider at the absolute minimum to make sure that they are implemented immediately where you're working, in case you haven't already done so. Firstly, make sure that there are proper policies that are written clearly and they are communicated out across the board to everybody in the organization. Just so that everybody is aware that yes, there is something in writing that by the virtue of my employment in this place, I am bound by those policies. Secondly, make sure that there are trainings in place, and trainings about sexual harassment need to be consistently delivered across the board, and they also need to be updated and made sure that over time they are repeated because the values and the behaviors that are expected are completely internalized by everybody. Last but not least, make sure that there are proper mechanisms in place and that employees at all levels of the organization are able to step forward comfortably without any fear of retaliation, and this has to be completely guaranteed. Confidentiality has to be guaranteed, and at the same time, employees must feel totally safe when they want to come forward and they want to flag any cases of sexual harassment in the workplace. When Google mismanaged a couple of sexual harassment cases a few years ago, it really backfired and it really impacted Google brand internationally. What happened was that the victims that had stepped forward to Human Resources Department, they complained that the HR department, instead of actually listening to them and holding the individual accountable, what the HR department did is that they sided with the company and retaliated against the victims. So what happened as a result was that thousands of employees of Google from around the world were protesting in what is now known as the Google Walkout protest. And they were doing that in solidarity with the victims. Sexual harassment cases are highly sensitive in nature. And one of the biggest reasons why survivors of sexual harassment don't step forward in the workplace and bring this to anyone's attention is because of the feelings of guilt and shame that's attached to it. And at the same time, in some cases, it's actually the religious and cultural stigma that's attached to it. So it's very important to understand those factors, take those factors into consideration when you're dealing with any case of sexual harassment and who is being impacted. In all cases, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, all the victims of sexual harassment need to be provided with some kind of support for their psychological and for their emotional well-being. You can now listen to Pod Your Heart Out podcast, and this specific episode where I speak about sexual misconduct in FBI is available in all of the leading directories around the internet. And you can also visit www.podyourheartout.com for more information and resources. And please make sure to leave a rating and a review once you're done listening.